Oh, that's a really interesting title screen. Hi, I'm Crep, and welcome to my Let's Play of ba 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 ba. I didn't have to say it this time, but I'll say it anyway. This is Sonic Advance 2. I love this game, and it's a really recent newfound love. Are those adjectives redundant? I can't tell. It's too late in the evening. I've decided on impulse that I want to record this game because I feel a particular adoration for it. There is a temptation. Wow, I wonder who all these people are, aside from Sonic the Hedgehog, of course. There's a real temptation in me to try to do a Let's Play of Sonic Advance 1 first, but, you know, I really don't have to, right? There's this sense, and I'm really going to delay actually starting the game to go on this ramble, this whole aside, this tangent was the word I was looking for. There's this whole thing in, like, Let's Plays, reviews, any sort of, like, fan-driven, comprehensive response to a work, wherein the author, or whatever word you might find most appropriate in that context of a responsive work, the author feels the obligation for comprehensiveness to cover all of a relational work, whether that's inclusive of sequels, an entire franchise, a larger spanning series, a body of works by the same author or studio, anything like that. And obviously, I've dealt with my fair share of Let's Plays becoming work when I really want it to just stay a fun hobby I do from time to time. And that kind of comprehensiveness, the insistence on it, is one of those hurdles that keeps me from actually just doing the thing and having fun with it. And also, I don't want to play Sonic Advance 3. So this is Sonic Advance 2. If you... Oh gosh, so this is something that was on my mind that was part of the reason I even wanted to sit down and record this right now. God, how do I even get into this? Basically, I had the thought, right, of like, I live in such a particular, like, communal space and lived experience in regards to many Sonic games, but in particular ones like this one that had like a very divisive period, primarily within quote-unquote the community, for whatever like calling it that is really worth. And I guess when I say the community, I'm referring to like general online spaces wherein people who ostensibly liked Sonic the Hedgehog and liked the games that were in the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise all got together to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog together. There is a particular divisiveness to Sonic Advance 2 in those kinds of spaces, and I have to wonder, like, to what degree did people who were not specifically in those spaces, so people outside of my particular lived experience, but who have a relationship with this game, to what degree do people like that experience that divisiveness, experience, like, the conversations around the game that I have? Oh, perfect. My double 800 points. Still got it. And then, kind of secondary to that, how much does growing up with this game versus not growing up with it, experiencing at a time, I don't know, let's say like post-2010, post-2011 maybe? How much something like that influences your experience with, again, what I call the divisiveness of Sonic Advance 2. Now that I've kind of outlined that's something that's been on my mind, like a dialogue I want to open up to anyone who is going to watch this Let's Play, especially, of course, anyone who does not fall into either of those categories. Someone who didn't play this game at launch, especially, like, someone who was not young for this game at launch. Oh, wow. I landed on that rail off screen. Okay. I'm gonna hold on to that thought. I really need to finish up what I'm talking about here. Or someone who has never existed in Sonic fan spaces in that kind of way. That's inclusive of, like, watching a lot of Sonic videos on YouTube. Basically, if you've experienced Sonic Advance 2 without, like, someone else's preconceived opinion of it entering your brain before you can develop your own, I'd love to hear what you think about it, or don't think about it, even. If, like, if a lot of the stuff I'm about to talk about in this video is, like, overblown to you, or something that's completely imperceptible out of nowhere, never heard of it before to you, that kind of stuff. Okay, so the other thing I want to say, we'll get into, like, what's actually going on in this game in a minute, but that rail interaction, that was fascinating. In Sonic Advance 2, you can't start rails. You can't grind on any rail unless you land on the initial flat segment of it. Any, like, inclines, declines on the rail, can't land on it, you'll just fall straight through. So that means that I landed off screen at the start of a rail. That's funny. I don't know if I've ever had that happen to me before. Anyway, hi, this is Cream the Rabbit. She was introduced in this game, but she was actually created for Sonic Heroes, if you can believe it. This game just came out first. Ain't she cute? So, okay, let's actually talk about Sonic Advance 2. I played this game, if not at launch, then very close to launch when I was very young. Like, this was, this game had to have come out in 2002, right? That's what I would expect. Given the release dates of, like, Pinball Party just before it, I think, and Battle and Advance 3, and then Heroes. And I thought it was really cool, and then I extremely struggled with a level midway through. That's the part where if you have, like, any of the experiences I do in regards to, like, other people's conversations about Sonic Advance 2, you'll know exactly what level I'm talking about. But we can get there when we get there. The important thing is that I gave this game a try. I gave it an honest try. I bought it, or at least my parents must have bought it for me. There's no way I would have bought it on my own at that time. Probably. And it didn't click for me. And in truth, it took a long time for any 2D Sonic to really land with me. I would say I wasn't seriously into any 2D Sonic until the 2011 Sonic CD remake. That was probably, like, the first time I really got deeply invested in a 2D Sonic game, and was probably the moment what changed my life trajectory entirely. But what I did experience, in spite of not playing a ton of this game, though I did try multiple times, I promise you, was a lot of discussion around it. One of the classic sentiments about this game, which I think you can kind of observe after I say it, just looking at this gameplay and this level design, a lot of people criticized Advance 2 for two main things, at least within Sonic spaces. One, what people refer to as hold right to win, which is not really true for a lot of reasons, not the least of which being the further in you get to the game, or the further into the game you get, better sentence composition there, the less that strategy will actually get you anywhere, and will mostly just drop you into pits, if not straight into many obstacles that will probably kill you. Like, to a degree, yes, these early levels, maybe reward just doing nothing but holding right, but mostly just don't do anything to discourage it. You're most of the time going to be rewarded with level progression, which I suppose is the thing you want, so I get it. But I still think it's a little unfair of a judgment, and it, in retrospect, oh wow, I'm looping here. Where do I want to go? Good question. I want to go up this rail, of course, which I already did. hold on. Tangent aside, where did I go? This brought me down here. Okay, I'm looping again. So I need to go over, question mark? I need to go more of an over path. It did set me up just to go, I need to take this rail. This rail that I dodged is where I need to go. After a certain point, it's going to take more focus to actually play this game well than what I can really allot while trying to hold like a real topic of discussion. So one of the two is going to give. We'll see which one. But for the moment, the whole right to win criticism, in retrospect, feels like a lot of people who are refusing to meet the game on its own terms, which I get. It's very much like a departure from previous 2D Sonic, and it wouldn't really have any other answer until 2005 Sonic Rush and onward. Rush Adventure, Sonic Unleashed. Like, the franchise took an even more stark turn toward the kind of game that Sonic Advance 2 is trying to be. And Sonic Advance 2 is, to a degree, trying to emulate Sonic Adventure 2 in 2D. That's a whole thing. As ever, reminder to drink water. You're doing this much talking for any reason. This boss, we want to hit the cannon. Don't be fooled, don't go straight for Eggman. The cannon is the goal. For whatever reason. Oops. I just thrust myself directly into it. So, tangent within a tangent. It's endless. The story of my Let's Play channel. I play these bosses extremely recklessly because it's very fun. Sonic has this air dash he can do in this game when you double tap forward in the air after a jump, and it lets you control the momentum of these running boss fights so heavily that I find them to be way less fun with any other character. None of the other characters in this game, which we've seen cream so far, we're gonna see most of the rest of them throughout the rest of this playthrough, because to unlock the other characters, you have to play as Sonic. That aside, none of the other characters have that kind of movement tool that allows them to actually make tangible forward progress against the momentum they're constantly fighting in these running boss fights. So it makes them feel a lot more active in player participation for me, and I think it's really fun. Okay, so that's one of the criticisms that people hold for this game, or held, or still hold. Who knows? The other one is that the level design trends down and toward the right. Now, this is just a pretty factual statement about the game. That's why I was saying, I don't know, like 10 minutes ago, whenever it was that I started this tangent, that you can observe it while I'm playing the game. You can see with your eyes, by way of my gameplay and the level design, that the levels trend down and to the right. Now, right is forward. There's no point in this game in which you start going to the left. I mean, that's pretty typical for most 2D platformers anyway. It's honestly probably still pretty subversive to have a 2D platformer with linear levels like this, where you start going to the left. But that part aside, it's the downhill part, it's the down and forward part that is like distinctive of what gives this game its feel. Because like Sonic Advance 2 wants to feel like a game where you are going fast as often as possible, it facilitates that by using the existing physics engine developed for Advance 1. Oh, interesting. Can I get up there? Yeah, I can just barely get up there. Developed for Advance 1, which is at least some facsimile of the kinds of gameplay physics that the 2D Sonic games on the Mega Drive had, meaning that rolling and going downhill makes you go faster. So if they want you to go fast, it makes sense to have you go downhill. Now, like, the criticism isn't necessarily like, oh, we just don't like downhill. It's that it makes for a more samey experience overall. And I think that, too, is not really fair to the game. You can kind of feel that way, especially if, like, you're you subscribe to the other criticism that's just hold right to win, at which point you're not really engaging with the level design at all anyway. You think it's all just one answer fits every problem, one size fits all game design. These were like the dominant wow. I didn't get those rings until a second after I hit that box. That's cool. These were like the dominant sentiments around this game for years in the spaces that I occupied. And that's inclusive of my own Sonic Discord server that I run. And this is not an advertisement for that. That thing is private. You only get in there by being really cool or chill. I think actually chill is kind of necessary. And also, I think I just need to know who you are. But the point I'm making is that I run a community that's focused on Sonic the Hedgehog and talking about it and just having a space to actually, for real, enjoy the series. Oh, wow. Wow, I'm playing real bad. To enjoy the series and enjoy the parts of it that we actually like and focus on that. Not like without any room for wanting to be critical, but to like avoid the turn that conversations tend to take in other Sonic fan spaces with a lot of jaded disregard for any particular aspects of particular games, or just entire games outright, entire media products. Kind of like conversation killing sentiments that push people out from even feeling like they're allowed to talk about the things that they like. That sort of stuff. It happens everywhere, and it's really exhausting. I'm very tired of this monkey batneck. Oh. Okay, actually I lied. There's a third major criticism of Sonic Advance 2, and it's one that's also a criticism of the back half of Sonic Advance 1, and a lot of Sonic Advance 3 as well, and also Sonic Rush, probably Sonic Rush Adventure. I don't know, I kind of tuned out after that point. So, you may or may not know of a game development company named Dimps. If you know them for Sonic the Hedgehog stuff, that's one thing. Oh my goodness. That's such an annoying setup that I've gotten dinged by multiple times now. I just want to get out of Music Plant. I'm just kind of running into everything. Feels bad. I like go over here? Okay. There's a little game development company called Dimps. It was founded by ex-SNK employees, an SNK being an arcade a game development and publishing studio that started off in the arcades primarily. I believe that's about true. And they were mostly known for developing fighting games, and in particular, when they really got into fighting games, they cemented a reputation for themselves for having very high detail, high animation count, or frame count, wow. High animation frame count animations for characters and background details even in their games. Just stunning artistic quality to their fighting games. And, and also their other franchises like Metal Slug also are really known for their artistic fluidity of animation and detail. So this is like a signature for the artists of SNK. And that's one of the things that Dimps kind of picked up in their time doing pixel art games before moving on to 3D engine, 3D graphics, wow, games, like many other studios in the late 90s and aughts. That whole graphical bit, that was a complete tangent. I was just trying to play the game and talk at the same time, and I completely lost track of what I was talking about because I got into this other sentiment. The important thing is that Dimps exists. It was made by ex-SNK employees. And they have done fighting games. They have worked with other publishers and development studios on fighting games. But one of the things that they are most known for better and for worse, are the handful of Sonic games that they developed and co-developed with Sonic Team. The Sonic Advance games are not the first ones that they did, but they're so close too. There was only one game prior, and that was Sonic Pocket Adventure for the Neo Geo Pocket Color, which is sort of a Sonic 2/Sonic 3 retread, in strange ways. Mostly a Sonic 2 retread. That's beside the point, though. Starting with Sonic Advance 2 for real, though there were signs of it in Sonic Advance 1 as well, is a particular approach to the level design of 2D Sonic that was a little divergent from the Mega Drive games, and honestly, kind of thinking on it, less so from the Game Gear and Master System games. I haven't really thought about that before, but basically, there's a lot more bottomless pits. And there's also a lot more deliberate enemy placement in places that you can't see coming just because of the screen resolution and the speed at which the game moves. The latter is like a criticism that people have held against the Mega Drive games for forever. That's actually not literally true. Forever is probably not fair. There was definitely a period where, quote-unquote, gamers, and particularly reviewers in magazines, thought that the Mega Drive Sonic games were too easy, that they were very simple compared to the more hardcore mascot platformers that they were contemporary with in the 90s. I've got like 15 million subjects I could talk about with this stupid franchise that matters so much to me. Setting that aside, there's Miles Tails Prower, our funny little sidekick boy that everyone loves, being... well, he's tied up. Oh, he's being dangled by a hook. What the heck? That's messed up. That's, like, really messed up. Eggman. I didn't think you did stuff like this. That's okay. I felt like I was kind of on the back foot for no particular reason with that fight, with that attempt. Okay. I'm doing this in such a rambly style. I'm not keeping it together at all. The point I'm getting at is that there's a lot of bottomless pits in the level design of these games. We're on Zone 3 right now, and there are plenty of places where just an errant fall, or an unknowing run off of a ledge into a wall could just drop you off somewhere and you're dead. And it's like, it's not necessarily that big of a deal. It's, oh, whoa, I forgot you can go behind this one. That's scary. It's the sort of thing that people who were big fans of the Mega Drive games, or at least big fans of, like, Sonic CD and Sonic 3, I suppose also Sonic 2. I think Sonic 2 is a little more lax on the bottomless pit front. It's mostly Sonic 1 starts getting them in Starlight and Scrap Brain. There's just a lot more of them in Sonic Advance 2 and Sonic Advance 3 and Sonic Rush, and you already heard me give that list earlier. Though I think that was a different context. Basically, it feels like your choices and mistakes are punished a little more actively and immediately in these games. I've had conversations with friends about this, in particular, like, very recently, that, like, that's not, like, an objective bad or wrong or anything. Not at all. It's definitely just the sort of thing that feels disorienting coming from particular other 2D Sonic games. And then, for some folks, it just sticks in their mind as just very discouraging. I think that's a reasonable criticism. It's very instant, without a lot of communication of what you did wrong. In particular, in Sonic Advance 2, for me at least, it's very difficult for me to internalize a lot of the level design. And if I can't remember it, and I can't react to it, the design may as well not be there, and the set pieces might as well not exist. And I'm just kind of running into whatever comes next. There was a period where I did start to internalize the level design more on purpose, because I was actively seeking out the special stages, which we will not be seeing this entire playthrough. But if you notice me picking up these weird rings and the little oblong gold circle getting added to the heads-up display in the lower left there, or lower left, upper left, those are SP rings, and you have to get 7 of them in a level to get a try to special stage when you beat it. If you're curious, the reason why we're not doing that is because there's only 7 in a level. Now, some of you may have put together that sentiment with the fact that these levels are very linear and have many points at which it seems like you're kind of funneled and you're not allowed to go back. And you might have been able to figure out why we're not doing special stages right now. I do think it's kind of fun to actually learn the levels and route them, but it's not the sort of thing that you can do very easily just by playing. You would have to do a... Whoa, I've never had that kind of immediate straight down drop from that part before. That was extremely strange. It's the kind of thing that, like... Oh, come on. I don't know if it's actually possible. I just want to do this because I want to do it. Okay, well that was me throwing away a life for no reason. It's the kind of thing it's really difficult to do while you're playing the game unless you have the tolerance to repeatedly start levels over and over and just check out every path and start to really map the whole thing out in your head. I don't. I really don't, unfortunately. It's not the kind of thing that works super great for me with this game's screen resolution and the... honestly, the breadth of its levels. They do stratify quite a bit in a way not unlike the Mega Drive games levels. I would compare them a lot to... I suppose I compare them to Sonic 3's primarily. Some amount of Sonic 2. When you really look at Sonic Advance 2's levels, it feels like they have so many layers of paths at times. Even if they might converge eventually. Oh, I just walked right off. I didn't want to do that. Even if they might converge at points, like there are bottlenecks somewhere here and there, there's just like so much of it at any given point. Compared to Sonic 3, which usually only splits a few ways. It kind of has like a prominent top-bottom path sometimes, and more often than not, the splits and stratification is all in favor of it layering in on... Oh, goodness. It layering in on itself. Can I get up there to that? Maybe if I go backwards. Sure. We could do this. That was worse, actually, because I was going uphill so much. I mostly want to do this, I guess. That's still worse. Okay, fine. We're going down. Don't try to get that SP ring this time. It's not... You're not going to do it. You're just going to die. Because Sonic 3's level design really likes making maximal use of the level map space, so it does a lot of curving in and around its own paths and taking up as much space as possible. Sonic 2 is... It probably actually is the closer analog. The only thing is Sonic 2 doesn't usually stratify as strongly as Sonic Advance 2's levels do. At least from my perception of them all. Maybe, like, a Metropolis Zone is kinda a Sonic Advance 2-ish without the downhill. Anyway, we're already in Zone 4. I mean, I know I got held up big time in Music Plant. We don't have to worry about that. We're still making great pace. We're already in Zone 4, and I haven't even finished talking about this game. I'm glad I got a checkpoint. So let's see, we're coming up on the point that's like the big thing that I was alluding to much earlier on in this Let's Play. Not like immediately, but soon. Soon. What's something else I can bring up in the meantime? You know, I brought up the whole thing about how DIMP's employees were ex-SNK, and SNK was really known for its artistic fidelity with its games, both in animation and depiction. I might as well talk about how gorgeous this game is. I do think Advance 1 looks nice as well, but I think Advance 2 has more striking locales. In particular, Ice Paradise here is one of my favorite levels in the entire series. Its color palette really appeals to me, obviously. It's majority blue, but it also just makes really nice use of cool spectrum with warm spectrum highlights. That was really unfortunate. Oh hey, I forgot you can just press the jump button to completely skip the level title card. That feels so weird. Not many Sonic games let you do that, but Sonic Advance 2 wants to let you get right back into it as quickly as possible, apparently. And it's not just the locales. I mean, like I said, I really like Ice Paradise. But obviously, one of the main things about the Advance series that people really notice is the sprite work. That these characters are really well animated, especially given, like, the resolution, the proportions. I mean, Sonic's torso alone is probably, like, 18 pixels tops. That's probably still actually is underselling it. It's probably, like, 30 pixels tops. That's not a lot. It sounds like a lot, but the thing is, like, even a sprite that's just 16 by 16 pixels in resolution, that the by there means something. It means multiplication. It's 16 times 16, so that's a max of 256 pixels. Is that right? Is that the math? Oh gosh, is that the math? Why am I scared now that I don't know my powers of anything? That's right, right? Yes? We're just gonna let the statement stand. I'm not going to try to, divert my train of thought and ability to speak when I want to talk, and my ability to play this game to my ability to do simple math. If I get really embarrassed on the internet, then I'll simply be really embarrassed on the internet. You know what? No, hold on. I take that back. Yes, it is 256. I knew this somewhere in my brain, which is why I just left it the answer. That's good. But at least I could actually, like, sit and think for a moment and know that it's true, instead of simply believing that I remember it to be true. God. Okay, well that completely derailed me. My stubbornness, my insistence. Sonic, work with me here. I want to go up that way. I'm getting a little too flung to the right because I'm expecting... There we go. To time it in a way that I thought would just give me direct up momentum. So the sprite work. The sprite work was what I was talking about. Really well animated. Really detailedly animated. More states of animation than previous Sonic games up to this point. Sonic has 4 different animations for running. Is that right? We got a walk. We got a slightly fast walk. We got a beginning to run. Or is that just running? Well, it's hard to tell. Yeah, we got running. Yeah. And then we got running real fast. So there's four different animations just for ground movement. And then, of course, this game has this flourish for the quote-unquote boost mode, where you get this... You get this trail behind you. There's a term I'm looking for, but it's not coming to me. Translucent, monochrome copies of yourself. There's a term I want. It's fine. Oh, wow, okay. That's not normally how that goes. So, okay. Let's talk about something I think is fun really quick. Recently, on my Sonic Discord server, I ran a Sonic Advance 2 community race. We've done a few community races there just for fun. Nothing super serious. So far it's been Sonic 1, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Story, There was one other, and I forgot this the other day, too. What was the other one? Oh, it's not that big a deal. Why am I having such a hard time actually getting close to him? Okay. The point is, I'm getting so easily sidetracked with everything I bring up tonight. The point is, I ran a community race for this game, and pretty much everyone had trouble with this boss, except for my friend Fire, who played Cream. There was no restriction on character choice, I decided. It made playing Cream an easy win, but I thought it was funny. What is happening? Where is my speed going? Maybe I've never approached the platform with, like, that little speed before. This is so weird. I'm not able to gain the speed that I need. Something weird is happening right now with the way that I'm fighting this boss, because I intentionally... Oh my goodness. Okay, whatever. We're throwing it away so I can finish this anecdote and then try again. We did a community race. Everyone had trouble with this boss, aside from Fire again. Except for me, because I know the trick. And apparently I don't right now, but I promise you, I do know the trick. I'm just gonna go start over. I want to start over. I just want to start over. Stop giving me rings. Thank you. It's an audio cue. Check this out. Listen closely. Here it gets faster. Still an audio cue, though. Oh, that was unfortunate. I jumped straight over the rings I wanted. Time to really focus. 2. Focus really hard a second time. I jumped slightly downhill, so my jump got stunted in terms of height. Oh, I was expecting the platform to come up while I was still coming down there. The timing of the bombs definitely makes it harder to not get hit on the rebound after actually making it up to him. But otherwise, it's just timing. It's basically a rhythm game. I'm not making fun of anyone else in that race for not being able to do that boss wall or anything. A lot of people just don't pick up on treating the bombs falling audio, treating the sound effect as a cue. Oh, whoa! Whoa! I just landed straight on that first platform. A lot of first times for me tonight. That's so weird. Anyway, we've made it. We've made it to the pain point. This is Sky Canyon. I don't think it's a stretch to say that within Sonic fan circles, Sky Canyon is kind of infamous. And it's a little funny, but I do think it's basically true. I want to go higher than this. I want to go higher than this. Let me in. Yay! I windmilled. Sonic Advance 2. Among all the other things that it's done, including radically shifting the level design, slightly changing the physics to make your to make your starting walking speed, your acceleration, a little slower. And stuff with like boost state, the way you get to special stages. It also introduced an entirely new gameplay mechanic with a dedicated button. Tricks. I've been doing them this whole LP up to this point. Every character has an up trick, a forward trick, a back trick, which is you kind of have to press the trick button and then back-ish, or maybe at the exact same time. Doesn't really matter that much. And a down trick, which I have had no reason to use up to this point. Now, there's never no reason to use it, but anything other than up and forward is pretty situational, which is to say back and down. It also depends on the character, if you can believe it. Every character has their own unique tricks. With the same inputs, of course, and it's always still the same 4. Now, there's multiple points in this game where the level design requires that you trick in order to reach like a particular ledge or a grind rail. You've seen me do that too. That all is fine. Up to this point, all of that has been actually pretty optional. Any time where you couldn't make it to a rail or a higher ledge or something like that without using a trick, you would usually just fall somewhere else that's also fine. And you wouldn't have to trick in order to actually beat the level. Sky Canyon is where that changes. There's actually a point in both of these acts. Only in Act 1 if you mess up early. But a point in both of these acts. Is that about right? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just Act 2, where you have to trick in order to not die as part of the linear level design. That, too, is not a bad thing. Oh, cool. That was really funny. And I could have saved myself multiple times, and I still didn't die. I really did think I was about to die, though. That extremely felt like a classic Dimps moment. I ran into a wall, and then fell extremely into a bottomless pit. Except that last bit didn't happen. Again, it's not a bad thing at all. Part of the problem, though, is that a lot of people didn't read the manual, or think that reading the manual should not be required for understanding a game. These are two separate things, and the former is mostly children. I was just kind of going places. It's just button saying, I'm throwing my extra lives away is what I'm doing. It's on purpose. I, of course, was one of those kids who played this game on launch or close to launch, and didn't even know that tricks were a thing because it was wholly new. It was a completely new, not just, like, idea to the franchise, though it would become more common in later games, of course. But it was just something I wouldn't have ever thought to do. Especially because it was on the R button. But to be fair, both of the face buttons on the Game Boy Advance are being used already, so where else would it be? The game, like, playing the game, in the game, there's nothing that tells you about tricks. It's only in the manual, and presumably any amount of other promotional material. Oh no, I just went right under that block. I was thinking about that the first time I arrived at that block. About how, I was lucky that it was going up. Well, this time I was unlucky that it was going down. I'm probably going to get a game over soon, which is not ideal, given that game overs in this game send you back to Act 1 of the zone you've made it to. But we'll cross that bridge if we get there. Oh yeah, right. That's the point. I was trying to remember, like, what was so devastating about not jumping in that segment and how it was good that I jumped the first time I got there. Not this time. I was one of those kids. And I had the pleasure, I'm sorry, I just picked up a discussion thread after, like, stepping away from it for a whole minute and a half, probably. I was one of those kids who did not parse what the trick system was at all, or that it existed. And I got completely walled at Sky Canyon. Just death after death, not knowing what to do. What am I doing wrong? How can I possibly get through here? And then I went online and I found nothing but other kids and adults complaining about not being able to beat Sky Canyon, and then complaining about the trick system not being telegraphed in game. Oh my god. Ba 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 ba. Do it again. I mean, we don't have to start from the top. It's fine. It's like I said a moment ago. Or we're just gonna go back to the start of Sky Canyon. I can do Sky Canyon Act 1 again. It's not the biggest deal. So, this level was just impenetrable for a particular subset of kids who played this game, and people who were very stubborn. And it kind of still got like, oh, whoa, 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 I did not mean to backtrack. That was scary. How did that happen? I don't even think I was pressing left. Okay, whatever, sure. Scary wants fear on me. Sky Canyon is still kind of talked about with this like air of, oh, it's the bad level. It's capital T, capital B, capital L, the bad level in Sonic Advance 2 and Sonic, like, as a whole. The level what ruined a whole game, or is so emblematic of awful design decisions that the people at DIMP should never be allowed to touch Sonic the Hedgehog, the intellectual property, ever again, etc., etc., other kinds of hyperbole. Oh, and that sentence went on so long that I didn't get to say, it's still talked about that way in some circles. I hope that these days more people are willing to, like, actually reevaluate this game. Oh, my goodness. And analyze it, and analyze their perceptions of it, and hopefully come to new, fairer conclusions on what it is. Oh yeah. If you just run against these fans, you can build boost speed, by the way, because you've never left running state, you've never hit a wall or anything. Just a funny little thing. I guess I'm down here now. Oh hey! This is a cute little enemy. This is Modillo. Bye, Modillo. What I'm getting at is that Sky Canyon is kind of the poster child for almost everything that anyone holds against this game. Almost anything, or almost everything. Because the major thing that I've talked about already that it does not, it doesn't fall into is the whole downhill jam aspect that people levy against this game. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but it actually sends you up and to the right. What a distinction. And even then, we are getting sent to the left a lot more often too, which I think is a little noteworthy for this game. I do think most of the level design in this game only ever sends you left in, like, very brief stretches, but Sky Canyon does a lot more, like, threading. I mean, literally, the threading of those level paths there. Threading you back and around and through itself in both horizontal directions. It offers a little more variety, and also, I just like it. I think it's pretties. I didn't mean to fall down there, and I guess I'm not allowed back up anymore. Okay, we'll go this way now. Hey, did I lose progress? I've kind of lost track of where I am and where I'm going. No, I would actually really like to get into that tornado. There we go. I managed it just fine the first time, but like with a lot of other things in this LP so far, I did it fine the first time, and the next time I just bungled it for some reason. So the whole point situation here, I'm just talking about whatever at this point. I kind of got to my thesis already, because we're at Sky Canyon. The whole point system at the end of the acts, you get points based both on how fast you're going when you cross the finish line, and then secondarily, how soon you're able to come to a complete stop from skidding, which not literally, but effectively requires that you come in there at boost mode speed and immediately hold left after you pass the finish line. God, this spot is so mean, just because of those spikes right there. It's the worst. And it gives you 800, 500, and 300 points, I believe, and then probably 0. There's probably a 0 in some way. It doesn't really matter, though. I'm not here to score attack, and also we got a game over, so I think my score got reset anyway. I've not been paying any attention. I'm just looking at the number that's up there and thinking that's probably too low for how much game I've already played up to this point. So I probably got it reset. Maybe. I don't know. Who cares? It doesn't matter. I'm not here for the score. I'm here for the play the game fun. Now, the level design isn't the only thing that people hold against Sky Canyon, but we're gonna have to actually get through Act 2 to get to that part. I do think that if there is anything I do criticize Sky Canyon for, it's something that is kind of true of the levels in this game in general, but mostly only comes up here because of how much more looping around itself it does compared to other zones. It's really easy to end up in these spots where you just don't know where you are and can't tell if you've been somewhere already, and can't tell how to get out of it. As was happening to me briefly in my first run at Act 1 just a bit ago. It's not the worst thing either. It's mostly just a point of friction that I think gets really frustrating to get into for more than just a moment. And the level design here kind of lends itself to that happening to you, mostly because of the small screen resolution, if I'm being completely honest. There's a whole thing here. I have friends who don't believe that screen resolution actually makes any of the Sonic games harder or less fun or worse in any capacity. But I really think that I have such poor reaction times, especially at my age now, that playing games like this at this resolution is just like, I can't tell what's going on until maybe about a half a second or longer after it's happened or is on screen. Oh, hey, that's Knuckles the Echidna. He's piloting a big hand. Actually, he's piloting a big donut with a hand and a laser gun. Huh. I was waiting for that laser to fire. Normally it doesn't take that long. Oh wow, I actually hit him with the Insta-Shield. That's surprising. So this laser is super weird. It fires that black beam laser, and then it fires a second one, and the second one is what hurts you. The first one is just a warning shot to tell you basically where it's going to fire. It's the absolute worst, and I try to get rid of it as soon as I can, so it's just one less thing to have to manage here, because we're dealing with the hand now. This is somewhat infamous within Sonic spaces, because the hand, when it slaps, and sometimes when it's just swinging around, or even when it's just doing that weird, like, vibing animation it does, it instant kills you. Cool, I'm glad that it happened at the exact moment I was trying to get the words out, too. That's really fun. That's really fun in video games. It can just kill you, outright. You saw me, I lost my rings the exact same time that I also died. That's an instant death. That normally doesn't happen in Sonic games. Outside of crushing situations, of course. But, like, it feels mean here. It feels so mean. Why did they do that? A lot of people just don't like the bosses in this game, period. At least the people I hang around, that seems to be majority opinion. I like them for reasons I've already outlined of playing as Sonic and be able to control your own momentum. It feels very satisfying to navigate within the inertia of the way that these fights control. Oh my goodness, I'm going a little too far and running into the hand and getting hurt. At least I'm not dying. And of course, the boss fight, wow. The boss hitbox here, Knuckles in his absolutely safe capsule. That's not true. If I get hurt in this, it's not absolutely safe. You can't hit it from the sides. The sides are protected. The sides are where it's absolutely safe capsuling. So you have to get above him, and you can sort of get him from the side with a very precise insta-shield. Sonic has an insta-shield, by the way. I haven't even talked about it, like, at all. But you can see he does this. He does this little thing. Woo. He had an advanced one also. I don't know if it was an... Really? I don't know if it was any good in advanced one, but didn't really need to use it in advanced one. And it's not as, I don't think it's as invincible as it is in Sonic 3. It doesn't grant invincibility frames in quite the same way. So it loses a little bit in terms of utility that way. Its hitbox is probably smaller. I don't know. It generally offers the exact same, like, type of benefit as using the Insta Shield in Sonic 3 does, but it seems like it just doesn't do as good a job. It's not as valuable a tool, but you can make use of it at times, and honestly, there's very little reason not to throw it out at times, just hoping that it'll extend your hitbox enough to make a difference. It's basically worth doing. Come on. Oh, and I'm playing too hasty for this. Ba 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 ba. Do it again. Classics of thing Kretz says, referencing an old YouTube poop. If I had to do it all over again just to do it all over again, well, I'd do it all over again just to do it all over again if I had to do it all over again. And I will. I will do it all over again. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! What'd I do? How'd I do that again? I think I pressed, like, jump at the ramp. Wow. That's so scary. I didn't want to do that. It was so scary. Okay, anyway. Let's be invincible for fun. I think this is the point where I'm gonna save my throat a little hassle. And save myself from having to drink quite as much water over the next several minutes. And cut to whenever I get to the boss again. Hopefully, without fewer lives than I did the first time. We'll see. Oh god, oh god. Really? That's so mean. That's so mean. The knockback that you would have just kills you outright. Okay, I said I would come back at the boss, but this is a point probably worth highlighting. That, like, this is the way in which Sonic Advance 2 feels more overtly punishing at this stage in the game compared to other Sonic games. Oh, wow. The exact same spot. See it, like, it creeps up on screen. If you have better reaction times than me, maybe you could have tricked as it was coming on screen. You would have seen it. You would have processed it. Me, though, I have to die to it twice before I'm like, oh, that's there. Okay, I'll know that forever now. And by forever, I mean for the next, like, 10 minutes before it leaves my memory space. As I make room for keeping track of the names of every Sonic Zone so that I can continue to do Sporkle quizzes. Anyway, just that spot, like, that experience, I feel, does speak to something, honestly. As much as I'm, like, still having a good time, that's just, like, a really frustrating thing to have happen so spontaneously like that. That being said, I think we're near the act. Yeah, that's the end of the act. Okay, well, so much for not fewer lives this time. It was going to be up until I died stupid at the same crushing block in Act 2 and then died at that spike wall twice. Not even to the spikes. The spikes just happened to do me in by taking me to the bottomless pit. The spikes were an accomplice to a larger scheme. I really just want to hit him. I want this boss fight to end so bad, but if I succumb to that kind of thinking, I will die so quickly. I am at the threshold of having to do Sky Canyon a 4th time, so I probably should play it safe. The kind of almost rolling terrain, the inclines and declines that the infinite rows in these running boss fights do can be such a pain because of how they affect your jump arcs, your jump trajectories. Sometimes it's nice to jump higher, but you typically end up misjudging your distance anyway when you jump higher because you jump not as far at the same time. And then you jump on the decline and you end up jumping short in height of the thing that you want. It's just bad. It's just unfortunate. I do think that, like, it's a good shakeup. It's good that it does that in terms of keeping it from both being visually and mechanically samey and flat. But it is unfortunate the way it can just screw with you, especially, again, me with my poor reaction times. And this game probably shouldn't get judged on my reaction times, to be honest. It's still kind of discouraging, though. Alright, can we wrap this up soon? You know, on to better things and such. Oh my goodness. What was I talking about, you know? What was I just talking about with those big jumps? Still, I made it work. I really did not want to jump high there. That was actually very risky. Anyway, our good friend and pal and buddy and guy that we like who likes us, Knuckles the Echidna, is here. He gets special music. The Cream and Tails cutscenes had the same song, but we get a special different cutscene song for Knuckles being a rube. He gets tricked, unfortunately, again. Whatever. I swear, they did not know what to do with this guy after they introduced Shadow. Not at all. They're getting back to it these days, though. Okay. We get to pick the pace up again. We're out of Sky Canyon. It's time for Techno Base. That being said, I should probably throw myself into a pit ASAP so I can get my Game Over lives refreshed. How does that sound? You have a pit around here? No? Anyone want to kill me violently? That'll do. So anyway, here we are at Techno Base. We'll be back in a moment, I assure you. Wow, game overing on purpose? Wow. Okay, that's enough of that. Oh, actually, you can't skip as early as the Sonic Team logo. I forgot. I should have kept my bit going for like another second longer. That's okay. Not everything can be perfect. Techno bass. If I remember correctly, whoa, I'm slurring my speech a little too much. And by that I mean I'm slurring it more than is a tolerable threshold for me, as I hear my own voice back in my ear. Techno bass here is, I believe, the first instance of a quote-unquote cyberspace style level in Sonic the Hedgehog. The cyberspace being a word that has more like particular design connotations these days thanks to Frontiers, but I mean like in a thematic way. The idea of like a computers and electronics themed level. Or internet themed level. And I do really like what this zone has going on aesthetically. I really thought I was going to die there. Sometimes you fall for like really long stretches in this game and you have no idea what to expect and you're probably going to die, but sometimes you get lucky and it's fine. And you just land somewhere. I think what sticks in my mind in terms of other zones that are like this right now is whatever the one that Sonic Superstars had is. Because I can't remember what that zone is called, because I don't remember what most of the zones in that game are called. Isn't it so funny how I was just talking about remembering the names of Sonic zones? Unfortunately, I personally feel like a lot of the zone names in Superstars are really uninspired and don't evoke as strongly as a lot of these zone names in even other games like approaching it. That's a whole tangent though. Techno bass, I really like its aesthetic, but I also, in particular, really like its music. Oh, I guess I actually want to go up. We'll go up. And Act 1 is very good, but Act 2 is my favorite, and probably my favorite song in this whole game. I'm pretty sure way back when co-host was a thing, I made a post that was my top 5 songs from the Sonic series, and I feel like Techno Bass Act 2 made it in there somewhere. If not like at number 4 or something, it might have been in the honorable mentions. Because I know what number 5 was. It was E102 Gamma's theme. There was a period when I was much younger with this game, in part because I hadn't seen this zone, but also just because it does have a very particular climactic and cool feel to it. I really thought this was the last zone of the game. It has a more dramatic flair to it than the prior zones. And like the word bass, it just feels kind of like a culmination. It feels like a particularly important location, despite the fact that it doesn't particularly have Eggman trappings necessarily. Of course, it's not the last zone. There's one more after this, and we're steadily approaching it. We're already facing a lot less friction than we were in Sky Canyon. But believe you me, anything can happen at any time. Sky Canyon has its own, like... God, how do I put this? Sky Canyon is kind of disarming in the way that it can spring challenge and obstacle and reaction problems on you in a way that just doesn't feel like you would expect it from the softness of its aesthetic, the freedom of its themes. But Techno Bass feels dangerous. Techno Bass feels threatening. Techno Bass feels like you're teetering on the edge. So maybe it just feels easier to be cautious in a zone like this, I don't know. Maybe even after all this time, how much I played Sonic Advance 2, I still underestimate Sky Canyon. Maybe that's my problem. I don't know. Oh, there was a higher rail I could have taken. Oh well. I want Lightning Shield. Yay. More rings for me. Honestly, the more opportunities I have to get 100 rings, the better. I like extra lives. It's too bad I just lost my really awesome lightning shield. Uh-oh, am I dead? Yes. Okay, cool. God, that's stupid. Leave it to Sonic Advance 2 to have, at the very end stretch of the level, a single platform to save you from your mistake. And if you miss that platform, then, well, that's all they were gonna give you. I guess I want to go left on this rail? Yeah, okay. It just felt weird to go left because there was space. I was allowed to go right. I wasn't forbidden from going right. But I guess the only real problem there is that right feels like such a natural direction to take in these games. I guess I can't blame the level design after all. Phooey. Let's try living this time, maybe, if we're lucky. Especially if I get to the boss of Technobase with even one extra life, I think I'll be pretty okay. Another boss that gave people a lot of trouble when I last played Advance 2 with a bunch of folks was this one. It can be a pain. It can be a real pain. Especially because it likes to shoot these 2 projectiles at you. Oh, sorry, 3. I thought there were only 2 for a second, but there's actually 3. In cycles, it will just shoot these 3 projectiles at you from the center body. And the timing on them coming at you can be a real problem, especially when the boss is not giving you rings. They're spaced just such that it really takes some precise movement to not get hurt by any of them. And then, of course, they follow your position for their shooting angle, even as you move. So they can come at you at extremely inopportune times, like that, as you're approaching the boss to try to get a hit in. Real frustrating. Oh, thank you. I was just about to ask for rings. I was just about to ask so politely, so delicately. And then, of course, you can get thrown off by having unexpected landings on platforms like that. Ugh, I was really hoping it wasn't going to do the yellow platforms twice in a row. I'm so frustrated that I picked up that ring and then landed on this shot. Ooh, okay. We're fine. We're not dead yet. Let me up there. I need to hurt this man viciously. And I want to do so in relative safety. Okay. Should be, like, one more. That's what it feels like. I haven't been counting or anything. Ooh, that was extremely lucky platform timing. Woohoo! It's not that bad. I mean, it's kind of bad. It's rough. It's real rough. That's okay, though. Still managed better than with the Sky Canyon boss. Now Egg Utopia. So because for a long time, in my mind, Technobase was the last zone of this game, and I'd never even heard of Egg Utopia, no less, like, see it for any reason. Actually seeing this the first few times that I started, like, actually playing this game well enough to get to the end was like, what the heck is this place? What is this? What's this crazy gadget final rush thing? That's basically what it is. It's basically a crazy gadget final rush kind of thing. But it's also Egg Utopia. This is what Eggman would call a utopia. He would call this a utopia. I'm making an obtuse reference to a Mother 3 song for no reason. Where am I going? So whenever you think about Eggman and his goals and the things that he wants, the things that he intends to do, consider that this is what he thinks a utopia is. this is the world he would build. I suppose also you could consider Eggman Land in Sonic Unleashed. That is also what Eggman would build, because that is what he built. He did literally build it. This level is definitely a bit scarier than Techno Base, but I guess I've just kind of gotten used to the real scary points to a degree that actually getting to them, I don't usually succumb to the part that's scary so much anymore. Left, no. Okay, whatever, I'll just jump. I'll just go this way. Oh wait, I didn't want to do that, huh? I forget what I want to do here. Do I just want to ignore this rail? Yes. Question mark? Huh. What a weird bit of level design. What direction do I want to go again? Oh yeah, the spin dash is not very powerful in this. That's, I suppose, to be expected. Right, I hit that spring and then I go right. What a weird bit of level. It's almost Knuckles Chaotix bad, but not quite. The spin dash, I mean. Because they don't want you to use it. They don't really want you to come to a complete stop and then have to start with a burst of speed. They want you to keep moving. That's the kind of game this is. Also, my throat lightly hurts from talking, so I should drink some water. It's simply the smart thing to do. Oh, this is the spot I remember. Mainly because, like, it's just this big set piece. One of the few things that sticks with me, but then also it has this SP ring up here that you don't have to be invincible to get, but you get flung at those spikes at such a speed that you'd be flying blind for, like, trying to time avoiding running into them if you're not invincible. I guess all you have to really do is jump off the ceiling. But you probably have to do it with some particular timing anyway, just given that if you go too early, you're just gonna go straight down to that loop instead of actually landing above it. Seems like a whole thing. Speaking of jumping off the ceiling, there's a few points in this act where it has you running along the ceiling and then there's an enemy along the ceiling and you want to jump off before you get to it, and etc, etc. It's not that clever or anything, but it's a trick that the level pulls repeatedly in a way that you kind of have to train yourself to anticipate in Egg Utopia. It doesn't do it as much in other zones in the game. Yeah, people talk about how Pokemon Gen 3 loves its trumpets, loves its horns. Well, I like the horns in Sonic Advance 2, so I'm not going to criticize it. Also, I just hit the buzzer. Everyone... That's the name of that enemy, by the way. I'm not talking about, like, the thing in sports or other game shows or anything. I hit the buzzer. Everyone who makes videos about Sonic Advance 2 knows about that buzzer. All you have to do is hold left. You realize all you have to do is not hold right effectively. Maybe if you don't hold left, you will also run into it. So maybe you just hold left. But it's not completely unavoidable. You just hold left. But people like to talk about that particular enemy placement as if it's unavoidable. Now, it's unforeseeable. That's true. And it's maybe unreactable. But it's not unavoidable. Oh my goodness. How did I not land on that spring? How did I walk completely over it? You're kidding me. Sonic, you need to fall faster. Sonic, see, there we go. You can just hold left, and you don't get hurt. It's amazing. Sonic, I need you to channel your best Mega Man 1 Mega Man, okay? We're gonna walk off the platform, and you're just gonna drop like a rock, okay? You're gonna drop like more than a rock. You're gonna drop like 2 rocks, okay? I believe in you. Just imagine that you have rocks in your shoes, because you have two shoes. That'd be 2 rocks, right? Yeah, so that's like dropping like 2 rocks. He doesn't get it. That's okay. That's fine. I don't begrudge him. I tried my best to explain the concept. It's clearly just not getting across. Oh my goodness. Okay, well at least I'm not dead. That was absurd. I won't get mad about that one buzzer from the fall near the start of the act, but I will get mad about that. Oh my god, I did not want a trick there. I was so... Wah! Okay. Alright.
3, 2, 1.
Sure. What was that whole thing I was saying earlier about being used to the fear points in this zone? Well, I don't like the idea of getting to the boss with 0 lives, being completely honest. But if I gotta, then I'll will. Huh. I wonder why I wanted to jump from those poles. I don't think I was like, was I getting, oh my god. What a jerk. Was I getting hurt for immediately dropping off that first pole the first few times or something? I don't remember. Okay, we're coming up on it. Actually, live. Land on the rail. Oh my god. I can't do this anymore. It's bad for my heart. Land on the rail. I know that I know that I could go... Okay, fine. I'm just gonna go for that other spring up here that I could see. I was just scared, you know? I had to hold right on purpose to get to it, and repeatedly I did not hold right. And I was like, well, that seems scary now. That seems dangerous. What if I don't get over there good? What if I screw it up? Whatever. Just take the risk. What if it goes well? You never know. Oh god, I didn't want to go that way. I wanted to get that checkpoint. Okay, well I guess I can't now. Okay, I got a different checkpoint. That makes me happy. Actually, even though I have no lives, so maybe the checkpoint is kind of meaningless. Oh my god, did I just... Okay, no, it's just a very similar set piece. I really thought that I went backwards for a second. I was so scared. Oh my god. Okay. It's not that scary. It's not that bad. I just have 0 lives and the bees want to hurt me. And the mice want to hurt me. God, the mouse badnik in this game, which is just called mouse, by the way. So violent, so aggressive. But also, tricky. It really likes to juke ya. Oh my god, the way they have spikes there to catch you if you don't get the swingy bit. What are those anyway? Oh my god. Okay, at this point, all of my commentary has just evolved into me being, like, flabbergasted at every single thing that happens. Oh no, I become a reaction YouTuber. Is this the inevitable end point? Is this how it ends for everyone? Well, everyone who makes videos on this platform. Oh, yay, I'm pretty sure this is the end. Hooray! Well, folks, we just gotta get through this boss without dying. Oh yeah, this one gets special music. They want you to feel like it's the final boss, which is really funny. Anyway, there's a gravity flip gimmick here. We can press down and up at will. Note that, oh god, it doesn't affect your vertical momentum at all. It just instantly flips the speed at which you are already moving. So you can go really fast up and down, and it's very scary. Oh god, I wanted to get any of those rings. I wanted any of those rings. Well, it is what it is. We get another game over in the Sonic Advance 2 Let's Play. I'll see you at the boss again. Actually, while I'm here, these icons for the level to select, right? The inner circle there is like a nice mid-dark gray, except on the Sky Canyon ones for some reason. Pure black. For some reason. I guess I could have gone and gotten that invincibility there. Oh well. Not like I needed it. Hey, I actually gained a life along the way. I wish I could have gained another, but hey, I'm just happy to be here with more than 0, being completely honest. Oh, really? Okay, sure. I was thinking too hard about like being able to see the bombs coming down from the boss, and then of course I couldn't. I was only seeing their fire trails. Yeah, if you're precise with the way that you change gravity in this boss, you can do some really funky dodges that are very good. I would have liked to have held onto those rings. Also, the feet hurt you, which is worth noting. I would love for this one to just be over already. We're in the pinch phase. You can tell because the music's faster. Oh, don't go off to the left. It's so annoying how much time this boss can spend off-screen inaccessible. There we go. Thanks for swooping out, landing, or stopping directly beneath where I was. Mid-jump. Made things a lot easier. Okay. I meant the whole thing about that not being the actual final boss earlier. Well, that's because the actual final boss is a boss rush. All the game's bosses in a row. I actually think this is very fun. The first Sonic Advance did something quote-unquote similar in that it had a level also named X. Actually, it had a level also named X, or was X Zone. That instead of having a boss rush of all of that game's bosses, it had the Wrecking Ball, the Egg Wrecker, I think it might be called, from Green Hill Zone in Sonic 1. And then it had the Egg Driller from Emerald Hill, Sonic Advance 2, or Sonic 2. Oh my god. No Sonic 3 boss, though. How conspicuous. It's funny to think about for how long a stretch throwback stuff in the Sonic franchise was a little bit dictated by the fact that they could always decide to pay Masato Nakamura royalties for using his music again. But they couldn't do anything about the Sonic 3 music situation at all, and just would refuse to do anything that involved bringing particular music tracks back. I don't think that's specifically the reason there's no Sonic 3 boss at the end of Sonic Advance 1. Because the boss, well, I mean, Sonic and Knuckles had mini-boss music that was not from the Buxer et al. Team. So, I don't know. Whatever. The speculation on why a Sonic game can or cannot have particular music from Sonic 3, etc. kind of exhausting conversation at this point for me. It is still a little funny, though. I do wonder why it was only Sonic 1 and 2. I guess, to be fair... Also, I'm not happy to be fighting this boss again. Also, Eggman's in there now, since we saved Knuckles. I was gonna say that it is kind of true that outside of, like, Sonic fan circles, there's really only nostalgia for Sonic 1 and 2. Sonic 3 is, like, known and stuff, but it was never packaged with a console, and that's kind of all it takes. Nor was it at the height of the Genesis popularity in North America. This is, of course, like, speaking from a very North American perspective. I don't know how it is for people outside of Sonic circles in like, the UK, or in parts of Europe, or in parts of South America. No idea. But at least from my US American perspective, it seems like Sonic 1 and 2 are the only ones that really get that kind of reverence. Again, unless you are actively a Sonic fan who likes these games a lot. Okay, once again, I would love for this boss to just be done already. I'm just waiting for a good opportunity at this point. A good opening. Thank you. You might have noticed all of these bosses in this rush take many fewer hits compared to the actual end-of-zone versions of them. Which is good, it makes this a lot more tolerable, but it also makes it a lot snappier in a way it's fun. A lot of the bosses also either start off in their pinch phase or get to it much faster because of the reduced number of hits necessary to take them down. Oh, I wasn't expecting to land on that platform. Waiting for rings. Thank you. Oh, that was unfortunate. It's a good thing I had iframes by the time those shots came my way. Okay, just one more to do, and it's the one we just fought a moment ago. I also like the music here. It's such an interesting mood to give this boss rush. Oh, come on. Stay on screen, coward. What? Ah, I flipped my gravity at a bad time. I could have just jumped, but I jumped and I pressed up. That's okay. This gives you checkpoints at every boss that you get to, so it could be a lot worse. Ugh. Okay, not too bad. And now, we're at the actual final boss. This game's one and only not running boss. I guess they just had to have something that broke the mold at the very end. So the goal of this boss is actually to hit the face repeatedly, but every so often these drill claws get sent out at you, and you can stop that from happening by destroying them. So I like to do that part. I don't have to. You don't really have to at all. It only makes this a little easier, but it's to my comfort, so I want to do it. We'll just wait around for it to target us again. These platforms that raise and lower are also quite annoying, but Only really for the hands part, because they can get in the way of your jumps in targeting them. Oh. I really thought I was gonna jump into it again, but then I just kind of didn't jump. That was my silly. Once we actually get rid of this hand, we can start bothering with the boss proper. There we are. And this will involve making use of these platforms. They're very kind, and getting thrust into the spikes at the top of the screen is not instant death, it just hurts. Now that we hit the pinch phase after a couple of bops, it's going to start doing its... Oh, is that true? No, I think the music just looped all the way, and I didn't realize it looped like that. We're not there yet. It did seem kind of early. I just accidentally double tap dashed. Isn't it surreal in this game to be fighting a boss where you can actually pick your rings up again? Isn't that funny? So, okay, now we're in the pinch phase. It's going to start doing its beam a little more frequently. The other funny thing about this boss is that you can, with precise timing, catch the platform on the way down and use that as a platform to get another hit in. So it can actually go down really quickly with some precise maneuvering. That's Sonic Advance 2. Egg Utopia crashes somewhere else, and the devastation of that doesn't matter to us. We have to move on with our lives. In a bit, we're going to get chastised by the game for not having gotten all the emeralds, but that's how these things go. If I'd really wanted to do that, I could sit down and reroute and rememorize all of all the SP ring stuff and then do all the special stages. That sounds like, at best, follow-up video material. But probably not. Don't expect any of that from me. Yeah, I think this game is still really fun. It's, you know, it can be punishing, like I described. It can be kind of discouraging, like I described. But I generally think it's still pretty fun. It has a lot of charm. It has more bombast than Advance 1 did, for sure. And I would say more than Advance 3 does, too. Advance 3 has a different tone. This one is very easy for me to just get into and play, though. I feel like I struggle more with getting through Advance 1 in a way that I don't really know how to diagnose, and Advance 3 is, I just think, a completely different beast, and I don't have fun with it at all. But in the same way that I can get into Sonic 1 easy, or Sonic CD easy, or Sonic 3, or even Sonic 2 if I really want to. I can just boot up Advance 2 and enjoy it. I just enjoy it. It's fun. They're playing back all the fun cutscene art. And that's the Sonic Advance 2 logo, because that's the game we just played. How funny. Yeah, whatever. What a sour note to end the video on. Wow. Ba 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 ba. Thanks, everyone. Bye.